very relaxed on his show. Welcome back to the No State Project, live from Libertopia 2014. My gosh, this is the 5th year that they've done this, and the 5th year that I've done the show here. Woo-hoo! So yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad they keep inviting. Well, apparently we're doing something right, Calvin, that they keep inviting me back to do this. So I do appreciate that. Big shout out to Joe and Sky and everyone who puts on Libertopia. And of course the help, Paul, you're always a big help at not only Libertopia, but gosh, name the Liberty function and like Pork Fest and you were in Phoenix, of course, with the Freedom Summit.
Yeah.
And you do all that. So we do.
Yeah, everywhere I go, people say you're a big help.
It's a lot more, not nearly as bad as what they're saying to me. But welcome back, everybody. We're listening to the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM. And like Ian Freeman, who runs the network in Free Talk Live, if you're interested in broadcasting this show in particular, or of course LRN in general, you can contact Ian at Free Talk Live.
Or broadcast.lrn.fm.
Or broadcast@lrn.fm. And you can just go to lrn.fm and you can contact Ian and let him know that you're interested, because he's definitely the man to set you up. So my buddy here, you want to broadcast the show and stick your finger at the man and little civil disobedience, broadcasting the show is a great way to do that. And so I appreciate everyone who also does that. But this is a little different than we have on the show. Won't go into too much detail. This is Sequoia, and you're a young anarchist, and you were an anarchist already in high school?
Yeah, I think I became a full-fledged anarchist in like 2012, but before then I didn't really know anything about that, but I still had those beliefs.
And what just articulate the belief?
I believe in what's real, and authority's not real.
Authority's not real, so a man with a gun ordering you to do something is not a real authority?
That's not an authority, that's a man with a gun.
You see that? Yeah.
That's the future, ladies and gentlemen.
See, and so, but it was your dad, we'll talk about the book, because you did read the book, which is really cool when you said that. I know you guys were leaving, and I appreciate you taking some time. But your dad's an anarchist, so was he kind of an influence at all?
He influenced me, but I wouldn't say we share all the same beliefs, because I'll like argue with him about certain things. And like if he says something I don't agree with, I'll be like, well, that's wrong, and I'll prove why, and we'll argue about it. But I mean, we have similar thoughts. We both believe in what's real.
So it'd be fair to say, before we get into the book, that the concept of not just authority, but of a hierarchy, of having rulers, doesn't make any sense to you.
Well, no, I mean, we're all on the exact same level. We're all human, and that's it, and that's all there is. And there's no like putting people on a pedestal. That's not very smart.
So the idea that the basic principles of right and wrong that you learned by the time you were 4 or 5, that it's wrong to lie, steal, kill, and cheat other people, that's always wrong, that you don't accept the double standard.
That's all you need in life, that's it. You need to stay like that and not grow up and start to say, oh, well, there's, some gray areas. No, that's not how it works.
Now, you don't have to say your age, but other people your age, or your friends, and people you're in contact with about the same age as you, they consider you radical, or?
Yeah, most of my friends accept me, like they're okay with it, and they think it's funny. Like we'll be in the car and we'll be like, and we all know how Sequoia feels about taxes, and they'll all start laughing, and I'll just shake my head and say, don't get me started.
Have you been able to have rational discussions with your friends, and maybe bring them over and to realize that there are certain contradictions in their head that are kind of maybe blocking their maturity?
Well, sometimes I do, but it only gets to a certain level, because I don't think they're ready. They should be ready, but they don't believe that they're ready. And I'll have conversations like, because they'll say, oh, well, there is such a thing as a good cop, and I'll say, no, there isn't.
I have to just laugh. I'm sorry. There's such a thing as a good cop. Okay.
I said, well, then why don't the good cops stop the bad cops? Then they aren't good cops, they're hypocrites.
Oh, whoa.
You are outrageous!
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And then they don't really know what to say to that. And I said, it's not real. I believe in what's real, and that's it.
Well, do you talk to them about actual principles that they would agree with you on, that it's wrong to initiate force against other people?
Yeah, I'm really, really against the military, like strongly, and
That's a shock.
and I have a lot of people I know who are trying to join the military, and I said, oh, so you want to kill people? You want to murder like innocent children? And they're like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do a different part of it. And I said, so you're gonna be in a gang where your people who you know are murdering children, and that makes it better, and that makes it okay?
And they don't respond too well to that.
No.
I think I could throw out there that I know, because I deal with an awful lot of people that don't think the same way we all do. Because I deal with IRS agents and cops and prosecutors all the time, and their job is based on and supporting their family, of course, is based on that. And so it's more where if you can find the common ground, that
build off of
and
that.
build off of that. Because at some point, like you're saying, right? At some point, they're going to disagree. Go back to the core principle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I mean, I've always made it a point, although at Libertopia here, it really doesn't work out so much, that everyone we really encounter is already an anarchist. I always try to make it a point that nobody can leave us, that if they're still accepting this belief. And I always do it. I found the most success in sticking to that core belief, like, yeah, you believe that that's real. So if that you believe in what's real, so if you're bringing people through, let's say you were a anarchist, you could go through and just start asking some questions, challenging that idea that if you really believe that there's a government and you believe in things that are real, and then framing your questions to bring that out. But I like to be able to hear that people your age, because I have a daughter that's 16 and another that's 15, so they're getting near there, that their friends would be more, you figure in the 60s like you, where it was more accepted, I guess, as opposed to now where it just seems that people still hold that there's some kind of moral authority with these people.
Yeah, some people, like when I was in high school, they would argue with me about things that they knew nothing about, like, oh, well, you can't go to school without a social security number. And I'd say, oh, well, where am I right now? Oh, did I just stumble into the wrong place for the past 4 years? And they're like, well, you can't. And I was like, well, where am I right now? And they said, well, you can't. And they just would not accept it, and they won't accept what's right in front of their face physically. Yeah,
well, there's a study that I have in the book where all they did was change the color of playing cards. And so let's say you had a club, 4 clubs, that was red. And they were showing it, and a certain percentage couldn't process the information. They didn't know what it was. So it's a very real thing you have to overcome. So that's why you have to baby step people through and do it gently. And if it sounds like you're getting somewhere with them. So I've got to ask, you said you read the book in school?
Yeah, my teacher said it was for AP Literature senior year. He wanted me to, he wanted everyone to read some sort of nonfiction book that was really factual and really, and something that you would really learn something from. And so he asked everyone to line up, and he would walk up and show him what book you chose, so he could write it down. And I walked up and I handed him yours.
Which one was it?
It was the one from 2012.
Adventures in Legoland.
Oh, it was Adventures in Legoland. Okay, so it was the judge was on the cover. The cartoon was on the cover.
Government indicted?
It was government
was it the
indicted.
white one?
No, so it was always the white
2012.
cover. Oh, it was
Okay.
the 2000. Oh, so this was just last year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And he went, oh, okay, because he said, you can pick from the shelf, and on the shelf it's like the presidents and that kind of stuff, and like democracy, this or this, and like all that kind of crap. And
Government indicted. Wow.
So for AP English, you wrote. Oh, I'm at a break. Can you stay for another segment and explain? Okay, cool. Well, I gotta hear. I mean, I gotta.
You
Tell
can't
them about a
better than
teaser.
this.
Yeah.
This one knows radio.
This is a teaser. I didn't do this on purpose for those listening. I don't do that. It's not no clickbait or anything like that. But come back. We're gonna hear more from Sequoia about how she wrote an essay about government indicted in AP English in California. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go away.
Oh, wow.
Actually nailed that break.
Okay, real quick on the tip on the microphones, try and just keep that to your mouth. And if you're gonna hold it away from Mark talking, because sometimes
Okay.
it'll pick up on that mic, his voice. But
We don't want to hear
ask
that.
her. You need to
yeah, we
ask
hear
her-
enough of him.
You need to ask her about
Thank you.
her political science class.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Because I didn't actually write an
Yeah,
essay
wow.
on the book. I wish
Wow.
I would have, but I didn't.
Oh, okay.
But
But you discussed
knew?
it?
well, I ended up.
She
I
was
only
in a
discussed
political
it
science, college level political science class in her last year of high school because they
And
ran out
the
of classes.
teacher, I failed the class.
Why? Because of your beliefs, or because you? I mean,
Partly because of it, probably.
well, it's not you that failed; it's politics, okay? Because you
Yeah,
broke the
I
political barriers, and you
Yeah.
know, the class failed. So of course they have to target you. You're the failure.
Yes, we consider
Classified
this
her
flat.
at
You
the
think
beginning
you're
of
the
the
ground,
class,
so therefore you fail.
Conservative
Yeah.
socialist. I am a conservative socialist.
Would they call that
I
a
say
fascist?
proudly.
A conservative socialist?
Yeah, that's
I
what
think
they call
that's
a
an oxymoron.
Well, no, isn't that what you would call a fascist?
I kind of think,
Yeah, that's what-
maybe.
Yeah, that's
That's
just
right.
a fancy phrase for fascist.
What else happened in that?
And the whole class busted out laughing because they knew what she was.
You may mean that you're a socialist conservative.
No.
Oh, did
yeah.
I misspeak?
Oh, that's good.
One thing about people my age and her age, the reason it's so hard to deal with them, to explain this stuff to them, isn't so much because they're indoctrinated, it's because they're taught not to think.
Yeah.
Because you go to these really boring schools, you're forced to every day for most of your life, to the point where the only thing you look forward to is getting home and not having to learn anymore. And for a long time I struggled with it too. And it wasn't just that, it was attention span too. Like, I encountered a comic where it would go on for paragraphs and paragraphs, and I could not force myself